Here's a quick peek at what we're going to learn today. It's Valentine's borders that you can use for making cards. First, you know how to draw the number 6, right? We're going to draw the number 6 in different ways, laying on its back, laying on its tummy, however you want to think of that. Get used to drawing that little design. Try a few of them. Then on my card, I'm going to draw a heart, and I'm going to draw a little 6 on its back and a 6 on its tummy, a 6 on its back, 6 on his tummy, trying to connect the lines as much as possible. At the end, I just added another little curve. And then I'm going to go down doing the same thing. So the 6s are kind of on their sides now, facing right and facing left. And then I add a little circle in each of the intersections there and under the heart. And I'm going to do the same thing at the opposite corner of the card. Couldn't quite decide which angle to put my heart on the bottom, so I tried it upright first. And then I do the little 6s back and forth. And then my little dots. And then go across the other side. Then I take my fine line Sharpie. I decided to tilt the heart a different direction, although once I was finished I wished I had it, because now the two hearts on the card are facing the exact same direction, and I don't like that. I would have liked it going a different direction, but you just have to work the squiggles around to fit whatever direction your heart down there is. It's going to be a little bit different than above. But basically the same thing. You can see I'm not tracing the lines. When you trace a line, it makes your lines more wobbly. If you just use them kind of as a guide of where things go, but draw a clean line each time, then it'll be much smoother. And I'm going to speed this part up, erasing it, and then I'm going to color it in with red. You can, of course, decorate these any way you want. Instead of the little circles in the intersections, you might put little tiny hearts there. You may come up with something completely different. This will just give you a sense of something that's possible. It's a pattern that you can try. And I just try to make sure there's some, in this case I'm using kind of a pink marker. This is a Tombow marker. Going to speed up the other side so you don't have to watch me draw all of that again. Same thing though, and then erase it. And then the Tombow markers, the thing I love about them is one side is a fine point and the other side is a brush. So I'm using the brush here. Now you can see I get out of the lines a little bit. It doesn't matter. These are whimsical drawings. They don't have to be precise. So there's the image. You can put a Happy Valentine's in the middle or a picture, whatever. It's just a nice border. Our next one, we're going to kind of do the same kind of motion, but a little bit different. You can see it's just going back and forth and back and forth. There's no right or wrong way to do these. These are just examples of ways you can do it. Now I'm doing kind of a coil, just around and around, and putting a little heart. And then this one, I'm turning a little sideways. Most of us are able to draw lines one direction better than we can draw it a different direction. So in my case, I can always go from left to right much better, but some people go from right to left much more smoothly. So I turned it to make my line, and now I'm just putting little circles down to where I want my heart. And you can see I've just chosen different levels for my hearts to be at. On this side, I'm going to do a long loop. And you can see I'd already tried it a few times before, and I haven't erased it completely yet. Just, you know, that's why we do it in pencil first, to get it the way you want. So here I'm just going to use the same design. I'm going to use a beaded string hanging down to a heart. And I'm going to use a coil, and then the first little zigzaggy back and forth loops that we did. But there are so many different patterns you could use on. Just try to imagine some string hanging down, what would it look like? What would it be shaped like? Is it thick or thin? Maybe it would be a thicker string that would be striped or something, you know. So then I draw it in. There you go. I decided to do on this one just little hearts. So I'm imagining a chain with little heart beads on it. And you don't even have to come up with a real life example of what you're drawing. You're just, this is whimsical. We're just using hearts to decorate a card any way you think of. So once I'm done with that, then I go over it with my fine tip Sharpie. And again, I'm not trying to trace it because that makes my lines too jittery. I'm just using it as a guide. And then I try to be a little more precise when I draw the heart to make sure it's a shape that I like. And then another little coil. And you can see I kind of double lined it there, and it makes no difference. If you start noticing whimsical cards in the store, just try paying attention to how many of them are colored outside of the lines, or their lines are a little wobbly, wonky, or off center, or whatever. That adds to the whimsicalness. So there's no room for perfection in whimsical drawing. You don't want everything to be precise and exact and matching. Just go with it, enjoy it, have fun. I decided I don't like the way I made those 3 hearts on the right line up. And so I'm going to draw this one the way I did it in pencil. But this one I'm going to make shorter, because I want my hearts to end at different levels. And I'm just going to draw my line and a heart, and then a line to the next one and the heart. You could just draw your line and go back and put hearts. They each have a line in the middle of them then, so I don't really like that, but you certainly can do it. It would be a little bit easier. And you'll notice I'm going much more slowly when I'm drawing with my pen than when I was doing the pencil, because the pencil is just a guideline to get an idea of what I was doing. You may draw this kind of pattern once or twice and then change it each time, and eventually you'll find one that you go like, okay, I like this pattern, this is the one I'll use. And then you could create that card multiple times for different friends or whatever you're using them for. But just experiment and have fun. Copy anything you see on my videos or on other YouTube videos. Just copy it for inspiration and see what you can do. It's your drawing, you know, because you did the work of drawing it. But, you know, you can give credit for the design to somebody else. And then I go back and color it in. And you can decide how to color those hearts in any way you want. This one I put a heart in the middle. I made it a little wonky, and, you know, I left it. It's fine. This one I'm going to put a little tiny heart in the middle of it. So I want to use my thinner point marker to color these in because they're much smaller spaces, and the brush marker is I'm going to not be able to do these little tiny spaces as easily. And then I'm going to stripe this one. You could obviously use any pattern you want. I just kind of want my hearts to not all look the same. And, you know, you could leave the beads open or color them in like this. I like coloring them in just because I like to have a little bit more red on my card. And whatever designs you're doing other designs. I'll do a little curves here. When you're doing other designs you might use for other holidays or things, you might use totally different colors. I certainly could have done some of the hearts pink, pinker, light pink, or some dark red. Mix it up. In this case, I just used all the same color. Again, there are no rules. There's no right or wrong. Just do it. Have fun. And I promise you, your friends are going to get your card. And even though you're going to see the mistakes you made, they're going to go, oh my God, that is so cute. I can't believe you drew that. And some people will say, I wish I could draw. I can't draw at all. And you can either tell them, yes, you can. It's really easy. Or you can let them think you're amazing and not tell them. But anyone can learn to do this if you want to, if you take the time to just try it. Maybe your very first time won't come out perfectly the way you want, but your second and third, they'll come out better, and your fourth one, fifth one, perfect. And then I'm going to polka dot this one. And there you go. All right, for this last one, we're going to do a border at the bottom. And I'm going to do about 1/4 of an inch from the margin. I don't measure it too carefully. And then you kind of just going to eyeball it. Once you've done this design, it'll make sense to you how you want your lines. So that's about the width I wanted the border at the bottom. Then I try to draw this line about 1/3 of the way down between that top and bottom line, and I didn't get it far enough down, so I'll speed this up. You don't need to see me doing it again and again till I got it where I wanted it, but then I did. Then I went back and I marked every 1/2 inch. Again, once you start doing your own design, you'll decide whether you want these bigger or smaller. This is just where I went. And I did mark the top and the bottom, although I got off, so it didn't really help me to have done that. I still had to keep changing and eyeballing it as I was drawing the lines in vertically. You don't have to use a ruler, but I do here. This is, I know, a lot of prep work for a design, but you'll see it's a pretty cool design. And once you really understand it, it's really not that much work. But the more precise you can get this, the more equal each of these sections is, the better your design is going to look. So when I've finished drawing those in, then I draw a little arc in each of the top boxes, trying to go corner to corner and then have the top of the arc meet that line above. They don't have to be exact, but the more precise they are, the more you'll like your pattern. Then I do a diagonal line from one corner to the other in each of the boxes of the squares at the bottom. And then reverse it and do a diagonal the other direction. This makes an overlapping heart pattern. So you could color in every single heart that's there, and say you did every other one in blue and every other one in pink, and they're going to overlap, so then you get like a purple, maybe depending on your markers you're using for the rounded part of the heart. I'm going to go up, around, and down, and do that in every box, up, around, and down. Now you can see that most of these I don't actually connect those circles to one another, and ideally they should touch. It just makes it better when you're filling it in, but you'll see as I color it in with the red, it's just fine. It doesn't have to be exact, but the pattern works a little bit better if you're a little more precise than I'm being here. So now once I've highlighted them, the entire thing in black, then I'm going to erase my pencil markings, and I'll go back and color in every other heart with red, and I'll make them meet in the middle as if I had connected those circles, and you'll see it doesn't really matter. no one will know that you were trying to connect those. It'll still just be a Valentine's heart. And I'll speed this up. You don't need to sit and watch me color everything in. And there you go. So I hope you enjoyed drawing these borders today, and I look forward to drawing with you again. Bye.